Hello there, very good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I am Jayama Ratnayaka.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. We'll start off by taking a look at your headlines for tonight.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Measures will be taken to import chicken if prices in the local market do not reduce, says Trade Minister. Farmers protest against attempts to import vegetables. 60,000 acres of paddy land at brink of destruction as water is not released from Samanalawawa to Udavalava. Jatika Janabalawege protests in Colombo against the looting of public funds. 65 medicines removed from use so far this year over quality issue.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
In your top story tonight, multiple issues related to the country's food security were discussed today, and these discussions centered around the rice, eggs and chicken required by the people.
Now, in the past, Sri Lanka was self-sufficient in eggs and poultry products. However, the Trade Minister on Monday announced that if the prices cannot be controlled, chicken will be imported in the future.
The Cost of Living Committee convened and it was chaired by the President. The President said to increase chicken production or take measures related to production by importing the birds. He informed to prepare a program that would benefit the people. The President instructed to award the opportunity for industries to import chicken. If the price cannot be controlled, the necessary measures will be taken.
Chairman of Lanka Satosa Limited, Pasandaya Pabewardena, commented on the distribution and sale of eggs imported from India.
We have been selling eggs in the districts of Colombo, Galle, Mathara, Kaluthara and Gampaha for the past 6 days since the 25th. Also from today, we have started distributing these eggs to Kandy, Nuwara, Badulla and Hambantota districts as well. Currently, we are selling and distributing these eggs without any problem.
Sri Lanka's Agriculture Ministry has decided to suspend the use of rice for the production of animal feed and beer. The decision was taken to face a possible food shortage that may arise in the future due to the present arid weather conditions. The Ministry of Agriculture said if there is no significant rainfall in the coming days, there may be a shortage of rice as expected paddy harvest for the yellow season cannot be reaped. Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that it is important to secure the existing stocks of paddy. Speaking to News First, the Agriculture Secretary Gunadas Amarasinghe has said the Gazette notification suspending the use of rice for the production of animal feed and beer will be imposed for the future as well. While details of Sri Lanka's food security came to light, local farmers protested against the decision to import vegetables. This protest in Windurupolya Valley Mada was organised by the Upcountry Vegetable Farmers Collective, which is affiliated with the All Ceylon Agrarian Federation.
Potato farmers and others are seriously inconvenienced as vegetables are being imported.
We are suffering day and night and the ministers cannot understand it.
Several vegetables are being imported. Did we have an egg crisis before? However, did they create an issue or not? Today, eggs are being imported and they are obtaining commissions. Why are they trying to import vegetables? Is it for the same reason?
This is Mayur.
Take a look at more news. Approximately 25,000 hectares of farmlands in the south of Sri Lanka are likely to be destroyed as the Ceylon Electricity Board refuses to release water from the Samanalawawa to the Udavalava reservoir. The cabinet has agreed to refrain from releasing water from the Samanalawawa to the Udavalava reservoir.
A senior minister of the government said the decision was reached after a lengthy discussion after the matter was raised during Monday's cabinet meeting. Although Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amaravira and Irrigation Minister Roshan Ranasinghe have pointed out facts in this regard, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara said if water is released, power cuts will have to be implemented within the southern province.
This is Mayurapura in Hambantota. The southern part of Sri Lanka has not experienced considerable rainfall in months, and the only water source to nurture these farmlands is the Samanala River. However, this waterway dried up several days ago due to arid weather conditions. It has been 70 days since the paddy was cultivated, and the period for reaping the harvest is fast approaching, and water is required for this purpose. However, the Ceylon Electricity Board has refused to release water from the Samanala River to the Udawalawa Reservoir, citing the need to retain water for electricity generation. As a result, a large number of rice fields are being destroyed by arid weather conditions.
I'm in debt to tune of over 100,000 rupees. We do not need electricity, but the children are in hunger. We can manage with a bonfire, but we need the water.
I have spent around 300,000 rupees and we will have nothing to eat in the coming days. We will have to die in hunger. We need to engage in farming to even settle the electricity charges.
Take a look at the destruction caused to the paddy. They did not provide us with water. During the pandemic, we experienced 10-hour power cuts. They speak of electricity, but we have nothing to eat. They keep speaking in parliament, but what has the agriculture minister done?
Rice fields in the Hungama area in Muravasihena also experience a similar fate. It has been 8 days since the farmers from Abilipitia launched a Satyagraha campaign seeking water for their rice fields.
There is an issue as to why the rulers do not understand this crisis. For 8 days, the farmers have been demanding water for the rice fields. Instead of solving the issue, they speak of other things. We are disappointed over the fact that water is not being released for our rice fields.
What is the crisis surrounding agriculture? Decisions with regard to the water capacity that would be released for rice fields during the Yala and Maha harvesting seasons are taken at the meetings organized by the Mahaveli Water Management Committee. Accordingly, on the 23rd of March, the Mahaveli Water Management Committee met and the meeting was chaired by Irrigation Minister Roshan Ranasinghe. At the meeting, the Natural Resources Management Centre of the Department of Agriculture warned that a reduction in rainfall could be expected this season. An outcome of the meeting was that water will be released for rice fields until the 20th of August, and farmers decided to commence cultivation based on this decision. However, Sri Lankan authorities now say that they cannot release water for rice cultivation. How did the water capacity drop? Over 25,000 hectares of paddy land are nurtured by the water released from the Udawalawa Reservoir and carried by left and right bank waterways. More than 30,000 families depend on the agriculture industry in this area alone. Now, the Udawalawa Reservoir gets its water from the Samanala River, which is controlled by the Ceylon Electricity Board. The CEB generates 120 megawatts of electricity from the Samanala River. The Samanala River can accommodate a capacity of 278 million cubic meters of water, and its present capacity is 87 million cubic meters of water. However, with the reduction of rainfall, the active capacity of the Samanala River remains at 12.4%. Therefore, the Ceylon Electricity Board decided that it cannot release water for the cultivation of farmers. Farmers were promised water until the 20th of August. And what do the authorities have to say now? The committee report containing the decision on releasing water until the 20th of August was signed by Nilan Dhanapala, the director of the Mahaveli Water Management Secretariat. Speaking to News First, he said that the decision on releasing water for farmers, as mentioned in the document, was arrived at by assuming that the capacity of the Samanala River would reach an expected 60 million cubic meters. However, he noted that the CEB had expressed the need to maintain the water capacity of the Samanala River at 80 million cubic meters. The director of the Mahaveli Water Management Secretariat pointed out that the farmers had cultivated an additional 10,000 hectares more than the agreed amount. He noted that if the CEB agrees to drop the required water level at the Samanala River to 60 million cubic meters, the issue can be resolved. Was any study conducted on the benefits that could be reaped by releasing water for electricity and water for farmlands? The Mahaveli Water Management Secretariat said that if the rice harvest is lost, the loss will be around 17 billion rupees, while the revenue earned by generating electricity would be around 1 billion rupees. What does the Ceylon Electricity Board have to say?
We cannot release water. If we do so, the farmers will get water for a few days and then there will be no water left. We will have to impose 4-hour power cuts daily for at least 5 districts since the day of releasing water.
What does the Minister of Agriculture have to say? Sri Lanka's Agriculture Minister maintains a position that water must be released for paddy land, even if it means that power cuts must be imposed.
If there is a power outage, it will only affect the southern province. We will have to release water even if it means that we have to impose power cuts. We need water for a week. I will make the necessary requests and the necessary interventions.
There is another minister involved in decision making related to the release of water, and that is Irrigation Minister Roshan Ranasinghe. He said if any crop damage is reported, attention will be focused on providing compensation.
Due to the electricity crisis, water cannot be released. We will implement a compensation program for any crop damages. The issue can be solved if there is rainfall. There is no alternative until the Meanwhala diversion project is complete.
Such a destruction is taking place as officials did not take the necessary decisions on time. The farmers pawn their jewellery to engage in cultivation. When rice is imported, we will have to purchase it for 300 rupees. This is a crime.
Do you remember? Ministers and officials promised to provide compensation to farmers for crop damage. Do you remember? Promises were made that compensation would be provided for the damages caused by the drought. Do you remember? Ministers promised to provide compensation when taking a decision to do away with chemical fertilizer and completely adopt organic fertilizer. Were these promises fulfilled? Over 30,000 farmers have been left helpless due to untimely decision making. And can their losses be simply covered by compensation money?
Sri Lanka's Agriculture Ministry says that the country's food security is at risk due to the drought and other related issues.
We will not be able to import rice as India has restricted rice exports. We will not be able to even purchase rice from other countries. We are facing a situation with regard to the survival of the people.
The Paddy Marketing Board said that local farmers are not coming forward to sell their paddy harvest to the state. Chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Buddhika Idamalgoda, speaking to News First, said that local farmers are anticipating to sell their paddy harvest to the private sector for a higher price. The Paddy Marketing Board had received 500 million rupees to purchase paddy at an interest rate of 8%. He said the Paddy Marketing Board has requested for another 750 million rupees for paddy purchasing.
The Paddy Marketing Board is operating 30 storage facilities for paddy purchasing. There is a reduction in paddy received by us. We have purchased around 3,500 million metric tons of paddy. We purchased Nadu for 95 rupees per kilogram, Samba for 100 rupees per kilogram and Kiri Samba for 110 per kilogram.
Is the Paddy Marketing Board telling the truth? Sri Lankan farmers say that many storage facilities operated by the Paddy Marketing Board remain closed. This is the storage facility owned by the Paddy Marketing Board located in Hambantota. The harvest from around 3,500 acres of rice fields is being reaped in the Bandagiriya and Kalipur areas in Hambantota. According to local farmers, the Palle Malala storage facility, located some 8 kilometers away from Hambantota town and operated by the Paddy Marketing Board, was open for several days and closed for over a week.
I am a farmer from the Bandagiriya movement. The Palle Malala facility was not open for 3 days. They just opened it for a few days and then closed it. The farmers were not paid either.
This is the situation in the Ampara district, which produces a large amount of rice for the country. 3 storage facilities operated by the Paddy Marketing Board in Uhana Ampara were closed.
The Paddy Marketing Board has obtained money for an interest rate of 8%. They purchased samba, kiri samba and paddy. Those were not cultivated in Ampara. We only cultivate red and white nadu. Taking a look at another story that has grabbed the spotlight in recent weeks, State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe says a cabinet paper presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to continue providing the Samurdhi benefit for 393,094 families who did not qualify to obtain the Aswasuma welfare benefit scheme has been approved by the cabinet. The State Minister points out 1,280,000 families who currently obtain the Samurdhi scheme have applied for the Aswasuma scheme and 887,653 families have qualified for it. The Minister says a fresh call for new applications for the Aswasuma scheme will be announced once the consideration of objections that have been received is completed. He went on to note 1,792,265 families have qualified for the Aswasuma scheme, while 9,046,612 families have newly entered the welfare scheme. Meanwhile, Sri Lankans were seen lining up opposite state banks earlier this morning to open bank accounts to access their Aswasuma funds.
The Sri Lankan government decided to introduce the new Aswasuma welfare benefit program to replace the Samurdhi program. However, the new program has led to a plethora of issues. Due to issues that arose with regard to the process to identify the beneficiaries, provisions was made for the submission of objections and appeals. Following a data analysis, letters are being issued to the families that were selected for the Aswasuma welfare benefit program. Beneficiaries are required to produce this letter to one of the 4 state banks in order to open the bank accounts to access the Aswasuma funds. Locals from Baddegama were seen lining up at state banks since early on Monday morning. However, many claim that they were compelled to line up for days and yet not given an opportunity to open the bank accounts.
This is the 3rd day of standing in this queue. What else can we do?
These people are brainless. The people are innocent. Some are sick. Others have poor eyesight. They cannot even fill a form. If the relevant officials used their brains, they would not put the people through something like this.
I find it difficult to stay standing. For how many days have we been in these queues?
We are here in this queue because we have no other option. This is the 3rd day. I have been in this queue for 4 days. Today is the 5th day. I haven't even had a cup of tea. I won't be able to earn my wage for today. The helpless will always be helpless. They say that they are done giving numbers for the day and that the process will be resumed only tomorrow. They are truly inconveniencing the people.
People of Mallavapitiya in Kurunagala were standing in queues in front of state banks since early this morning.
I am sick of this. I joined the queue only now. I was at the AG office this morning. This is very inconvenient.
We join the queue, stand under the sun and then go back home. They should let us know if the work will be done or not, so that we don't have to remain here.
This is the situation seen near State Bank branches in Hanguranketa this morning.
I waited here until 4 p.m. for 3 days. Today I got ready to come here at 1 o'clock in the morning. Today is the 3rd day. Now they have given a list of numbers given on Friday. Who will take the responsibility for those who came today? There is no one responsible for this. Not a single official has come yet. Look at how the people are being inconvenienced.
A large crowd had gathered opposite State Bank branches in the Gampula town this morning to open bank accounts required for the Aswasuma social welfare program.
We have been waiting for the past 2 or 3 hours. They are heavily inconveniencing us. I find it difficult to keep standing.
Meanwhile, a protest took place opposite the SLPP District General Hospital, demanding immediate solutions to the crisis gripping the country's health sector, including the shortage of medicine, expired drugs and quality issues.
A campaign to gather public signatures for a petition demanding the government to reduce the prices of medicines and address the shortage at hospitals took place during a protest opposite the Expenditure District General Hospital.
There is a serious medicine shortage at the Expenditure Hospital. There is a shortage of medical supplies as well. There is a staff shortage too. People are concerned if they would come out alive after entering the hospital. Minister Keheliya Rabukwala says that is why florists are located opposite hospitals. Will the issues in the country be resolved when such statements are made? Ranil Wickramasinghe speaks of a country that is free of fraud and corruption. The health crisis must be solved.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ වංචාව දූෂණය නැති රටක් ගැන අපිට බයිලා කියනවා අපිට බයිලා වැඩක් නැහැ දැන් මේ සෞඛ්‍ය අර්බුදය විසඳන්න.
Sri Lanka's Health Ministry noted that 65 medicines with quality issues have been removed from use so far in 2023. Additional Health Secretary Dr. Saman Ratnayaka told News First that among the medicines is one imported via the Indian credit line. He noted that 6 locally manufactured medicines were among the drugs that were removed from use, citing quality issues.
The All Ceylon Medical Officers Association called for the immediate amendment of the National Medicines Regulatory Authority Act.
The NMRA Act should be amended. We have put forward 2 suggestions for this. The first suggestion is that we need a medicine price formula. It is an accepted fact in any country in the world that the price of the medicine can be determined by adding a percentage based on the import price of the medicine. But as of today, there is no such law in this country. Therefore, pharmaceutical companies can sell drugs for any price they wish. Due to the high price of medicines today, patients who receive treatment from private sector hospitals have to stop taking medicines. The other issue is that this act, which has granted unlimited powers to the minister, needs to be changed. If it is not changed in the future, people's lives will be in danger.
A group of parliamentarians from the Samagi Jana Balawega visited the National Medicines Regulatory Authority to make inquiries regarding substandard medicines.
We are very disappointed to say that there is not even one official at the NMRA today. There is only one director and she does not possess the necessary information. She doesn't have answers to our questions. Will the companies that imported medicine without regulation or registering be legally penalized? Does the law apply to them? She didn't have answers to these questions. This report has been presented as a failing report. According to it, a local agent should pay a compensation of 30%. They should also pay the amount paid by the government. There are no answers to these questions.
අපිට තොරතුරු වාර්තාලා තිනවා පෞගිය අවුරුද්දේ විතරක් බෙහෙත් 86ක් බාල බෙහෙත්.
We have information that last year alone 86 substandard medicines have been released to the market. This year 46 such medicines have been released. By now there are so many types of substandard medicines circulating in the market. The poor quality of these medicines are proven only after patients take them. We can see that there is a huge issue in the administration sector. When we talked to this director, she admitted that there is no cadre to test the quality of these medicines in laboratories. There is no institution to lodge a complaint regarding the injustice done to the people. The Ministry of Health has no such institution. They accept all the complaints in the end, take the side of the manufacturer, or else they take the side of the doctor at fault. We can also see the minister in charge trying to satisfy a few businessmen who support him.
එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ වරද්ද කරපු වෛද්‍යවරයාගේ පැත්තේ ගිහලා හිට ගන්නවා. මේ අනිත් පැත්තෙන් ඇමතිවරයා Tamanගේ ඉන්න ව්‍යාපාරිකයන් කීප දෙනාව සන්තෝෂ කරමින් ඒ අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු කරගෙන යන තත්ත්වයක් තමයි අපිට දකින්න.
The People's Tomorrow organization commented on the present state of affairs.
වැටිලා තියෙන වලෙන් ආර්ථිකය ගොඩ ගන්න.
We do not see any program in place to take this country out of the abyss it is in. The finance minister is the person who is responsible for the country's economy. The treasury is under him, and so is the central bank. The Inland Revenue Department also comes under the Minister of Finance. So if the economy is collapsing, the responsibility of it lies with all the finance ministers this country produced. Some finance ministers had legal action instituted against them for fraud and corruption. We had a finance minister who was a dual citizen. Basil Rajapaksa had his feet on either side. The former central bank governor was also a dual citizen. When comments were made about him, Ranil Wickramasinghe said that there is no issue and he can bring him back with a single phone call. How many finance ministers did we have who have a sound economic knowledge?
Their intention is to make a quick buck, nurture their party and further develop their businesses. People like Thisakutti Arachi, Namal Rajapaksa, Dilum Mamnugama, Basil Rajapaksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa as well as Ranil Wickremesinghe. This is a challenge to you. If you say you can walk the talk and if you are unafraid of the Aragalaya and you claim it to be a conspiracy, call for an election.
උඹලා කියන විදියට අරගලේ කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් නම් අන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඡන්දයක් තියලා බලපන්.
Meanwhile, journalist Thiruchelvam Uduwaragedara, who was arrested at a protest on the 28th of July and hospitalized at the Colombo National Hospital, was discharged and he attended a media briefing today.
Following this incident, two individuals who claimed to be intelligence officers had visited my mother's home in Bandarawala, forcefully entered the premises and tried to question her. They had also called the neighbors and pressurized her. They attacked our people in Mirihana. While we were in Golface, there were several incidents of threatening and attacks on our people. In front of Ranil Wickremesinghe's house, journalists of News First and Our People were attacked. On the 22nd of July, they entered the BBC premises and attacked those employees there. On the 31st of March, they attacked Shanta Vijaysurya. A journalist was kidnapped on the 22nd of July. Threats and attacks are being carried out on journalists. I was against their actions to cover up the looting of the EPF and the change of labour laws in the country. The protest I was covering was one against the IMF as well. The pressure on the people depends on an organisation like the IMF. I spoke up against this. The protest I was covering was against it.
තමයි මේ වෙද්දී ජනතාවගේ පීඩනය රැඳිලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට ඒකට විරුද්ධව තමයි මම වාර්තා කරේ. ඒකට විරුද්ධව තමයි මම කතා කරලා තියෙන්නේ. සිරස වින්දනට
The police attacked Vindana from Sirasa when he was wearing a Sirasa t-shirt. These security forces do not care if the journalists possess a media ID or not. They have been attacked when they were in possession of it and also when they did not. We plan on filing a case and demand compensation from all relevant police officers of the Borella police station who arrested, attacked and detained Thiruchelvam Uduwaragedara.
බලාපොරොත්තුවෙන් ඉන්නවා. ඊටාම මේචාකාරයට ඔහුගේ කොණ්ඩෙන් අදිමින් ඔහුට සතෙකුට වගේ හිරිහැර කරමින්
They brutally attacked Thiruchelvam through various actions such as pulling his hair. This is a threat made to all the young people who took part in the Aragalaya. The arrest of Thiruchelvam, which was carried out by the police, is against the constitution. The law of the country was broken.
ක්‍රියාව මූලික වශයෙන් ව්‍යවස්ථා විරෝධී මේ රටේ නීතිය කඩකිරීමක්.
Chairman of the South Asian Free Media Association Sri Lanka chapter, senior journalist Lakshman Gunasekara, pointed out the appalling nature of the ongoing crackdown.
I believe over 60 journalists have been assassinated. The first assassination took place during a time when our current president was serving in the cabinet of ministers in the 1980s. I'd like to ask our citizens if we should expect more assassinations like this. Should we continue acting as journalists and continue journalism? Why are attacks of this nature being carried out? I must warn that if this continues, we will have to expect more assassinations of journalists in the future.
මෙහෙම යනවා නම් අපි ආයෙත් ජනමාධ්‍යවේදීන්ගේ ඝාතන බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
News First with the people.
In more news, Anukumara Disanayaka says the Jatika Janapalawege will come forward for the rights of the people. He was speaking during a protest organised by the Jatika Janapalawege in Colombo earlier today.
The Jatika Janapalawege protested opposite the Fort Railway Station in Colombo on Monday evening. It was organised against the attempts being made to loot the people's funds, including the EPF and ETF. Trade union representatives and members from the Jatika Janapalawege attended the protest.
The right to the funds of this country belongs to the working people's blood, sweat and tears. The message is that we will not allow the looting of this money. The working people of this country came together with the progressive people. They are trying to ban the protests. This is a people's struggle. The wealth of the treasury is also stolen. What are you trying to do today after stealing and destroying the country and making it impossible to pay the debt and bankrupting the country? They are trying to rob the Employees Provident Fund and the Employees Trust Fund. Do we have to tolerate this? This is a rogue. This rogue first entered the central bank, then the customs, and then the Inland Revenue Department. Should we tolerate this anymore? The people must come together to protect their funds. Ranil Wickremesinghe is trying to prevent that by moving court orders. He cannot stop everything like that. People are dying without medicine, and can he use court orders to stop that? Can the hunger be stopped by moving court orders? There is no fair price for the harvest by the farmers. The pain of the farmers cannot be stopped by Ranil Wickremesinghe's orders. Therefore, the people's protest for their rights cannot be suppressed.
ජනතාව සහතික වශයෙන් මේ පාලනයන් පළවා හැරීම සඳහා ජාතික ජනබලවේගය සමග ඒකාබද්ධව පෙරට එන බව අපිට විශ්වාසයි.
Against a backdrop where the people are facing various crises, the political sphere has heated up regarding elections. The SLPP Katana Balamandala meeting was held in Raddolugama.
We respect King Dutugamunu even without seeing him. However, the people decide to call the present-day Dutugamunu Maina. Are we such low people to do so? They called Basil Rajapaksa a crow when it was he who took us up. They said Namal Rajapaksa was living off looted money. Why did you not rise against that? That is not called slavery. That's our pride.
Deputy National Organizer of the Samagi Jana Balawege, S.M. Marika, attended a media briefing earlier today.
The Medaswala Pohotwe Janarali Velai.
The SLPP, UNP and Jatika Jana Balawege are saying various things at their gatherings. I saw Johnson Fernando say that 70% of the Balamandala have been recovered already and that they will mark a grand victory at the next election. The UNP talks big at meetings that have an attendance lower than that of a branch meeting of our party. If they are so confident that they will win, dissolve the parliament. Johnson Fernando, if you have covered 70% of the Balamandala, then put your signature in an agreement of dissolving the parliament. We will also agree to dissolve the parliament so that the election can be held instead of yelling on a stage. The Samagi Jana Balawege is ready to sign. We are not afraid of an election. Although they all talk big, they work together in the end. For an instance, take the number of confidence motion against the Minister of Health. The people are watching to see who raises their hand for and against the Minister of Health, who imports substandard medicine and kills people. We'd like to ask the SLPP who their next presidential candidate is.
News First. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
The comprehensive refurbishment of Superior Court Complex commenced on Monday.
The Supreme Court complex, built in 1989 with the China aid, has been playing a central role in the island's judiciary. The program to commence the refurbishment of the Supreme Court complex at a cost of 240 million yuan, funded by the Chinese government, got underway on Monday at an event created by the Chief Justice, Justice Minister and the Chinese Ambassador to Sri Lanka.
30 years later, our two governments are working together again to give this iconic building a new life, upgrading both the interior and exterior, providing brand new furniture and the MEP system. I'm confident that after the project finishes, the justices and the staff of both Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, this building itself is a testament of our long-standing relationship and the generations' effort to build our friendship stronger. The Chinese people have always stepped up when needed, help Sri Lanka overcome natural disaster, terrorist attack, pandemic, and economic crisis. And at the same time, our trusted Sri Lanka friends have done the same for us. Most recently, when the Chinese fishing boat tragically capsized at the Central part of the Indian Ocean in May this year. Sri Lanka immediately set out a Navy vessel and a diving team to help. We will always remember it. No matter what challenges we encounter, I strongly believe that our deep cooperation and strong partnership will help safeguard Sri Lanka's sovereignty.
We know every time, whenever we had any problem, whether it's domestically or internationally, China has stood with us in every fora in international affairs. Similarly, that domestically that you have extended your full support, which is very valuable to our people. This project alone will cost, is estimated as 240 million. In Sri Lankan rupee term, around 11 billion rupees. It is a timely need, and you have gifted it for a worthy cause, whereas this is the symbol of our rule of law.
The refurbishment of the Supreme Court will take place across 32 months in 2 phases, and all work is expected to be completed in October 2025.
The 22nd Nilan Thiruchelvam lecture was delivered on Sunday the 30th by Dr. Gautam Ban from the Indian Institute for Human Settlements, Bangalore.
The Nilan Thiruchelvam Memorial Lecture was initiated to celebrate the life and legacy of the lawyer, scholar, parliamentarian and peacemaker Nilan Thiruchelvam, who was assassinated by a suicide bomber in 1999.
If you think about urban inequality, it is very easy to feel absolutely paralyzed by the structural power of the kind of forces that produce inequality in our cities today. We are not at a moment where it is easy to have the slightest bit of hope about throwing rocks at these kinds of systems. Our work is still to remember, to think, and to move incrementally to imagine a new social contract, but to do it in a way that articulates it as that. Not just a pilot intervention, a development policy, a welfare regime, a new scheme, that each of the different stories, no matter how different they are, think of them as acts of building citizenship. We may be in a moment, post a moment, where hope and protest was large. It does not mean that that window of work has closed. Movements don't fail. They leave legacies like cities. There is no defined community or organization or movement that can take the mantle of fighting structural inequality. We fight inequality not just to win or have a particular outcome. We fight inequality so that we may become part of a new social contract, that we may become that we that could hold that chain. But we're not going to be that we before we start. We will only maybe be there by the time we end.
Nilan Thiruchelvam is remembered for his many roles, notably as a distinguished lawyer and constitutional scholar and visionary parliamentarian.
The last day of Fragile, an art exhibition curated by Chandragupta Tenwara, was held in Colombo on Monday.
Fragile, a group art exhibition by 6 artists from Sri Lanka, curated by Chandragupta Tenwara, was held in Colombo from the 23rd to the 31st of July.
This is 40 years after the 1983 pogrom, which tarnished the Sri Lankan history, and sometimes people are forgetting about it. I am the person who are always reminding them this has happened in Sri Lanka, and same time revisiting the same issue and related contemporary issues with my visual language.
The exhibition was an attempt to understand the impact of Sri Lanka's tumultuous history of violence and injustice and the issues that persist in various parts of Sri Lanka.
Taking a look at new
recognition at the Summer Olympics in 1948.
We cannot remain idle until the funds are received from the Treasury. The ministry had an expenditure over 1 billion rupees under Mahindananda Alutgamage, Dayasiri Jayasekara and Namal Rajapaksa. I have not even been given 100 million rupees. A sum of 100 million rupees was set aside for sports equipment. I had to speak to the finance minister on a number of occasions. They struck off our requirements. When I requested from Sri Lanka Cricket to award cash prizes for the winners at international events, I got 20 million rupees. That is how we are giving you this equipment.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. For the News Plus team, I am Jayamal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Good night.